Thank you so much again for joining us to celebrate 10 years of Startup Yale. So the Miller Prize awards a grand prize of $25,000 to the best student-led venture developing innovative tech or tech-enabled solutions. And in a moment, you'll be hearing from our 4 awesome teams who are selected from a very competitive pool of applications. So a big thank you to my team at Tsai CITY, our reviewers, and our judges for helping select the finalists that you'll hear from today. And speaking of judges, I'd like to now introduce them. We have 5 fantastic judges who'll help us select the winners. So when I introduce you, feel free to give a little wave. In no particular order, Santiago Ibanez is an associate professor of AI at Columbia University and leads the generative AI initiative at Mapfre Insurance. We also have Susan Schofer. She's a partner at SOSV Global Venture Capital Firm, and she's the chief science officer at HAX. We have Karan Kashyap, who is the co-founder and CEO of Posh AI. We have Yakjin Sa, who is the general partner of Sky River Ventures and the co-founder of VenX. And then lastly, we have Rashmi Pense, who's an impact investing specialist and a member of New York City's Urban Design Forum's lifelong Forefront Fellow cohort. Thank you so much to our judges. So this prize is made possible by Brian Miller, who's the founder and chief investment officer of North Sound Management Partners. Brian initiated this pitch competition at Yale 10 years ago with the goal of supporting young minds, creating world-changing technology. So a big thank you to Brian for his support of the teams you'll be seeing today and the broader student community at Yale. Brendan McGuire, who is the portfolio manager and director of research at North Sound Management, is joining us here today. And I'd like to now welcome Brendan to the stage to give a few brief remarks.
Thank you. Thank you. Hi, everyone. As Isabel said, my name is Brendan McGuire, and I've worked with Brian for up to 10 years now. And we're very proud of sponsoring the Miller Prize and sponsoring entrepreneurship and innovation at Yale. It's been a very fun 10 years with the Miller Prize. We've seen some amazing participants and finalists and winners, and we're very proud of the companies we've supported and really appreciate the university, the partnership with the university, and the support of the judges. And very excited to see the finalists present today and award a new Miller Prize. And yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Brendan, for your continued support of Yale entrepreneurs. So here's a rundown of what to expect today for the Miller Prize pitch competition. Each team will have 5 minutes to pitch, and then we'll take 10 minutes of Q&A from the judges. After we've heard from all 4 finalists, the judges will then deliberate to choose a grand prize winner. And I'm also excited to share that you, the audience, similar to any of the other prize competitions you've been to today, will have the opportunity to select the audience choice winner. There are voting cards on your seats, so please fill those out at the end of the pitch competition. My colleague Anju here will be collecting them in this ballot box, so make sure to please cast your vote before you leave for the break at 3:30 today. And then after 3:30, back in this room, there will be a keynote session at 3:45 featuring an alumni panel of trailblazing founders, so make sure to stick around for that. And then at 4:45, we'll see everybody here back in this room, finalists especially, for the announcement of the winners for all the prizes today at Startup Yale. So without further ado, I'd love to kick things off and get things started. I'd like to welcome our first team, AI Migo, to the stage. AI Migo is an AI for all your AI needs, helping get you connected to the best AI tools. Over to you.
Thank you. Oh, we don't yet.
Testing.
Hello, everyone. We are AI Migo, the one-stop shop for accessing the right AI. Let's face it, we're in the middle of an AI revolution. The tech is going way faster than any human can process, and we're all afraid of being left behind. AI is touching every occupation. Over 50% of the jobs already use AI today. And by 2027, 600 million people are going to be impacted by AI, which means that we all need a spot to go to get up to speed with it all. However, there's a gap. There are over 30,000 AI tools out there, but people only use 2.3 of them on average. And why is that? Consumers don't know that these tools exist or what to choose. It's costly, time-consuming, and people just don't know what they don't know. Who's going to pay for 10 monthly subscriptions just to find out what works? And this is where AI Migo comes in. We are a know-it-all platform that can help billions of people find the right AI tool for their job and learn how to use them quickly.
So this is our MVP. As you can see here, I'm telling AI Amigo that I want to build a website from scratch. It'll ask me a few clarifying questions, such as the level of technical familiarity, my budget, and the sort of website I'm trying to build. And it'll recommend the best tool for me. We really want AI Amigo to become a place where people can just come around and tell us what they're up to, and we'll have the right tools for them. We're different from other chatbots, such as ChatGPT, because we're trained on a proprietary data set of 30,000 AI tools. We also run a very unique algorithm that's based on not just large language models, but also other machine learning techniques, such as recommender systems. One more thing that makes us unique is that we centralize all the payment onto our platform, so you don't have to go anywhere else for AI tools.
Therefore, we are more affordable because we're using the pay-per-use instead of the monthly subscription model. Our algorithm update weekly, so we always service the latest and best-in-class AI solutions. Therefore, it is so much smarter than the traditional platforms like G2, which still use just the keyword search.
Our monetization is divided into two phases. In phase one, our platform is free to use for users. We only charge a commission from the AI tools. In phase two, users can choose pay-per-use to reduce entry barrier, whereas businesses can benefit from our anonymized user analytics.
We already achieved initial product market fit by piloting with 5 customers who have total 600K users. They all have very high willingness to pay to onboard and think we are a much better platform than Google and Product Hunt.
And people are eagerly awaiting our launch. One single blog post generated over 500 beta signups, whereas University Workshops has a high conversion rate of 17%. And we'll do you one better. In the next phase, we're going to provide cashback to incentivize users to onboard to our platform, do SEO and GEO to generate traffic, and cultivate a tight community by offline events. On business side, we'll keep onboarding AI tools as they come out.
So in 5 months, we've been executing with discipline to transform AI Amigo from concept to products. We've launched the MVP, currently doing a beta testing, and we will public launch in June and add the pay-per-use features in Q4. So there's no doubt this is a massive market for the distribution for AI. So we designed this business with scale and profitability at heart. Phase 1 will bring in $100 million ARR in 2028, and phase 2 will unlock another $100 million ARR. But most importantly, we will break even at 3 million monthly visitors next year. Our bigger ambition is to become the AI procurement agent and integrating into the enterprise SaaS ecosystem. So for Millerprice, 70% of the grant will go into product development, and 30% will go into go-to-market experiments. Millerprice will substantially improve the performance of our products and reduce and optimize our cost structure by implementing a small language model. But more importantly, it will have significant positive impact to the students at Yale by increasing their learning outcomes and skill sets. But most importantly, it is for the humanity. Millerprice will nourish a much better ecosystem for AI startups. So we're the right team to make that happen. My name is Helen. 5 years in growth equity and VC at Alibaba, experience with consumer and consumer SaaS. Mr. Joe Tsai was my IC at the time.
Hi, I'm Sam. I do computer science. Previously, I was a machine learning engineer at AMD and ByteDance, and I take care of all the tech stuff.
My name is Ray, a repeated founder who has taken a brand into a market, made them a market leader in 3 years. And we're backed by an excellent board of technical and business mentors who share the same vision with us, which is that no one should be left behind in the AI revolution, and AI Amigo is how we do it. Thank you.
Thank you, AI Amigo. We'll now take some questions from the judges.
Hi, thank you so much. I was wondering what's your strategy for building the supply side of your platform?
Actually, we're not really worried that much about the supply side because we didn't believe it either, but when we talk to businesses, it's 100% hit rate. Because like we said, there are over 30,000 AI tools out there, and they all want consumers, right? So when we say we're building this, they're like, oh, you're better, way better than Google. It's okay.
It naturally converts.
Yeah.
And I have a background in VC, so what I'm doing at this moment of time is by reaching out to these VC investors, backing the pre-seed, seed, and Series A stage of consumer AIs, and by collaborating with the VCs, transforming us into a value creation partner for them. And because our business work like risk-free partnership for these AI startups, like we're just another distribution channel for them. So these create tremendous traction that we have by partnering with these VCs.
So I'm just gonna, can I just, okay. So there's right now if an AI tool want to go to market, they go to Product Hunt, which is basically just like a one-time thing, and then you ask people to vote for you, and that's it. Or they go on AppSumo, which is like, they are doing like tools, lifetime value. So people go on AppSumo to pay a one-time purchase to use the tool for lifetime, but it doesn't make sense for AI because AI has an inference cost that is like monthly. So they would want continuous payment, which is, there's an opportunity for us, yeah.
Can you talk a bit about who your customer is on the user side? Like what's the profile of that person or business and why do they want this?
So we practice this. It's anybody who's one person but wish they had a team. So it can be anybody. Like here we have our user demographic. Again, like whoever we talk to is 100% hit rate, like whatever they're doing. But just because we are students here, we're gonna start by getting students on board. Because like I said earlier, there's a massive job market crisis where like we can't find jobs if AI replaces them, right? So like we have a massive incentive to adopt them first. So, and because we're university students, so we're just gonna do workshops and stuff.
Yeah. So before we start building this, we went out and do more than 300 surveys with different kind of people, students, small SME founders, startup founders, VC investors, and like digital freelancers. And we figured everybody has this pain point in their head. They just wanted to use more AI, but there's nowhere to find them. And then so that gave us a tremendous conviction that this is something that the user is looking for. And just the day before this, I was talking to a few mentors, and all of them took out their phone and asked, like, can I use it now? Like, I actually have a need, and I wanted to find something for that.
And I can tell you from personal experience, I use it myself daily. I made it like, it's functional a few weeks ago, and I'm using it daily. I couldn't imagine, there are so many AIs for everything, planning a trip in New York City and all that. So, yeah.
Yeah, Sam is our first paid user, actually. Yeah, he converted himself into
I converted myself.
Bro.
So I have a kind of a two-part question. So you mentioned is it pay per use? That's how you guys are doing it? And so the tools itself are monthly subscription pricing. You're handling as a pay per use model within the tool?
Yes, that's correct. So it will come in a later stage as we build out the initial user foundation. And the reason why we're doing this pay per use is we wanted to lower the hurdle for individuals to adopt AI. So from our survey, we realized that like one of the main reasons that people like walk away, even if the tool is great, because it wants your credit card, like its initial like $20 monthly subscription, people were like I only pay like 20 for my Spotify and I use it daily. Like why would I pay 20 if it's just like solving a point task for me? So we wanted to bring in another pricing model even for the AI startups. And as like I was doing VC talking to these founders, and people are actually trying to figure the pay-per-use model because fundamentally the calculation for the monthly subscription is based on how many credit, how many hours on computation power, how many tokens consumed. So it will naturally transit into a pay-per-use from that end. And it just helped the vendors to capture those casual users that are afraid of the monthly subscription. So from our interaction with the founders, they're pretty happy to onboard on this.
And the pay-per-use pricing is set by the company, or you? Okay.
It will be set by the company because fundamentally, the add up of like the monthly pay-per-use will be significantly higher than the original subscription price, so that it captures different market, different demographics.
Yeah, and I guess so. That was part of my second question is. Let's say somebody does want to use the tool a lot. What's your thoughts around keeping them within your platform versus them just directly going and subscribing to that service outside of you guys?
Right. If they're using that much, that could cover the monthly subscription. We encourage them to transfer into a monthly subscription model because it works more for them. But it also like give us that commission portion of it because we're basically doing the sales for the AI startup. So
I'll just add something, because if someone uses that AI tool that much, they are a heavy user of AI, right? So they might have need for using other AI tools. So it makes sense for them to just use one single platform, which is us, than like multiple.
the thing with AI is it iterates so fast. Like every week there are 100 new launches. And my thesis is the newer the better. And just because they don't have that much of marketing dollar to spend on Google and Product Hunt, so they can't, it's harder for them to do user acquisition. And we just naturally flow the traffic to them, because from our algorithm, we believe the better the capability, it should like match with the user from that side.
Thanks.
So you're primarily focusing on the long tail of the customers, the casual users. And when you are looking at the customer base, and as the AI gets better, a lot of the big AI companies will probably be able to do much of the long tail. And so why is the long tail even relevant moving forward? As you've seen, as you said, it changes so fast, right? And these models are getting better and better. Do I need the 30,000th AI tool? And once you get someone to try it once, how do you keep them there? If I already know that I need a travel plan for AI for New York City, why would I go and search for another one in New York City?
I'll just answer this. Like App Store has been out like for many years, right? And people still use it because there are new apps coming out every day, right? Like for the latest generation, it's like when we talk to our parents and like they use their phone, like usually we have to like walk them through like how this works, how that works, and usually like the older population have like slower adoption of these AI tools, right? So there's like different types of adoption. So the enterprise adopted from a top-down perspective, right? The CEO's like, oh, we gotta keep up with the AI race, and they'd be like, oh, everybody uses AI. But like from the consumer perspective, they want to find out like what's the best for them and use like whatever that is helpful for them, right? So like it's a very different model. For OpenAI, right now they don't have the incentive to care about the long tail. They're more focused on the business side. And for us, our whole thesis is like no one should be left behind in the AI revolution. So we're really targeting very different segments here. Eventually, they may converge. It's like two paths to the same goal. But right now, this is the path we're taking where no one else is really doing.
Right. So in my last internship, the one of the tasks I was given is like, so Helen, find me 10 AI for our small team. And then so I witnessed a lot of bottom-up adoptions. So we individual has to be the adopter of AI and bring that work stream into the enterprises even, especially for small and medium-sized enterprises. And then so this is how we come in. And at the end of the day, like nobody is doing the distribution for AI from my perspective. Like I was waiting for a year to see whether Google or OpenAI should build something like that because everybody is building on top of their LLM. Then I realized they have no intention to do that because they arbitrage from the chaos of AI. Like these AI startups spending so much money, billions of advertising to promote, to get users, and at the end of the day, it's their fundamental business. So the more chaos, the better for them.
Yeah.
And so, but to make the better ecosystem even for AIs and for users, because there is true demand and supply matching problem over here. So that's why we want to come in. Like, if nobody's doing this, then like I want to do this.
Thank you so much, AI Amigo, and let's give a round of applause to AI Amigo and our judges.
Thank you.
Oh, Ray, can I get the clicker? Ray, the clicker. Thank you. All right, let's welcome our next team, Preservio. Preservio creates innovative wine and food preservation solutions that minimize waste and maximize freshness. Clicker. That's forward, that's back.
Hi, my name is Drew Friedman, and this is Nicola Yu, and we are the co-founders of Preservio. Did you know that every year in the United States, on average, a restaurant or bar throws out 125 bottles or $4,000 worth of wine? In fact, in the US alone, $1.5 billion of wine is thrown out annually. While wine drinkers believe their unfinished bottles will last for weeks, the reality is wine oxidizes in days. After talking with countless restaurant owners, we have heard the same common complaint, that there is no effective or affordable solution for wine preservation. Well, now there is. Preservio is an electric vacuum sealing solution that preserves wine for 2 months. It is user-friendly, eco-friendly, technologically differentiated, universally compatible with all wine bottles, and lastly, will be patent pending in the next week. There are 2 main competitors in the marketplace. The first, as you can see in the middle, is vacuum or manual pumping, which is only able to preserve wine for 5 to 7 days. On the right-hand side, we have Coravin. Coravin is able to preserve wine for months to years. However, it is very difficult to use and extremely expensive. Coravin sells for over $300 and requires recurring gas capsules to operate the system, which are very expensive. We offer the most affordable and the most effective solution for wine preservation in the marketplace. As you can see here, on the left-hand side, it's vacuum or manual pumping. This is not effective because it allows oxygen to easily bypass through the stopper and accelerate the oxidation process. On the other hand, our interference fit technology, which is also used in major construction processes and with machinery, is extremely effective in preventing and minimizing the amount of oxygen that can get through the wine bottle. There are also huge market opportunities. The current wine preservation market is $750 million. Also, 85% of our over 1,500 subscribers are unhappy with their current preservation methods. The wine and food combined preservation category is $3.37 billion, which shows its huge potential for scale.
Since we started the product iteration process, we have been slow to go to the market and being very strategic because we want to first get the patent pending status before further entering and talking with wine distributors. Right now, while we handpicked our first 25 paying business customers in New Haven, our real potential far exceeds beyond that. Without any marketing, we have over 1,500 email sign-ups from our website, and there are wine distributors already showing strong interest in partnering with us. Our customers don't just like us, they switch to us and never look back. Here are what our customers think about our product. They save time and money, and it is important that it's used for 8 weeks, and the wine no longer has a soggy cork taste.
If we do win this event, this would completely transform our business and finally allow us to fully go to market. We will use the funding in 2 different ways. First, we will secure a non-provisional patent, which will provide us with protection when we do fully go to market. We will also use part of the funding to finalize our packaging. We will scale and continue to scale through strategic partnerships. And lastly, we will expand our product line as well into 2 multi-billion-dollar categories.
We own our full vertical integration cycle. Our in-house manufacturing and distribution has an excellent capacity of over 300,000 units per month, and the new product iteration cycle is only less than 30 days. Also, there are some Michelin star restaurants already pre-ordering our food preservation products.
There are also huge opportunities for scale. While we will begin in the wine category, we also see huge expansion opportunities in the jarred and plated food categories as well. We have a highly capable and motivated team. Nicola and Chloe are both final semester students at the Yale School of Management. Nicola has deep manufacturing expertise and also majored in industrial engineering in college. I am currently a senior at Yale College and have been super invested and passionate about the entrepreneurial space during my time at Yale. We hope that with your support that we can get our product into as many people's hands who desperately need it. So please help us. Seal the deal. 25K takes us to market. Thank you.
Thank you, Preservio. We'll now take some questions for the judges. Rashmi, we can start with you this time if you have a question, or we can go. All right.
So how do you test the quality of before and after, and how do you make those comparisons?
Definitely. So we have an automatic pressure detection system, which essentially ensures that the pressure within the bottle is -55 to -50 kilopascals, which is the optimal pressure for wine preservation. If you over vacuum, this could actually affect the compounds in the wine. And also, the boiling rate of ethanol in wine, the wine actually starts evaporating if you over vacuum. And then if you under vacuum, too much oxygen is inside the bottle, which accelerates the oxidation process. So that's our technology is able to figure out the perfect and optimal pressure.
Plus, our sealing technology is the only one that can achieve nearly perfect sealing because interference feed is never applied to the wine preservation industry before us, and we are the only one, and we are working on a patent. And while we tested in our lab results, the vacuum can stay for more than 2 months, which is the only one in the market.
And we also have over 200 testing results from our manufacturing facility on that specific, on the pressure. So we do feel really good about that.
So I know the company Corvin pretty well, and they were targeting wines that are very expensive because the people want to preserve these wines.
Right.
They don't really care whether it's $300. That's why they can sell it for $300, right? And for the cheaper wines, you know, the product itself is too expensive. There's no need to actually use it. And for you guys, what is the target wine price range and the ideal kind of customer profile that you're looking for this product?
Yeah, definitely. Corvin is our main competitor, so we studied them a lot and we studied them really well. We have talked with sommeliers and wine distributors, wineries who are using Corvin products. Like we have talked with like 50 of them. And, from their response, the expensive, the price is their smallest problem. Well, I admit they are very innovative. They insert the argon gas into a bottle. There are many downsides. First of all, there is a small layer of the argon gas on top of the bottle. If the bottle tilts or goes on the other direction, it may see so the wine may touch the air. So that's one point. The other point is the needle they insert is very easily to break. So once the needles break, they need to order another needle. While they were waiting for the needle to come, their wine already goes bad. And also, it is very hard to operate for new people. So we don't have any of those problems, and we are very confident we can take some of their customers. And there are some other customers who are between the lower end and the higher end, and there are plenty of them. And those wine distributors are already keeping in touch with us. Once we get a patent pending, we will sign contract with them.
I also think that there are a lot of customers for Corvin who are using Corvin but don't have any alternative option. They might not want to actually pay over $1,000 in lifetime expenses, but if they had our option, I think that they would switch because we're offering it for $100, they're offering it for $300, and packages of capsules are each $100 each. So it's very, very expensive. Like every month, you might have to buy a new package of capsules, and that could rise, cost can be over $1,000 in lifetime expenses. So I think we haven't seen that unfold yet because we haven't gone to market and had that competition with someone like Corvin. But I think if there was an alternative option, people would consider it.
Yeah, they do that because they want to have a subscription business, right?
Exactly.
And they're getting very high margins. They can lower the price. A small capsule of argon is not that expensive. They charge what they can.
Right.
For you guys, and they have a continuous, vision of the revenue where forecasting they can do because people are constantly ordering these argon gases. For you, you have to constantly find new customers. It's a one-time purchase.
Right.
And so, how do you plan to have a growing business? To keep that revenue?
We have actually we have two plans. So the first plan is that we can expand our product line. As we said earlier, our technology works for a plate of food, for jars. For example, for a plate of food, if you put a plate of your food in the fridge right now, maybe it would last for 2 days. With our sealing technology, it'll last for 10 days. So instead of putting that same plate in the freezer, you put it in the fridge, and you can preserve it for 10, 15 days. So first is the expansion of the product line. And then second, we've actually spoken to a lot of restaurants, a lot of hotels who want to actually get their brand name on our products so that when they use them at hotels, it'll say like the Hilton on top so that they can actually almost market themselves through our platform. So that's another part of it. The third thing would be also partnerships with restaurants, with wine distributors, getting their product on our sites and getting that marketing, that visibility for them through our platform.
This is our food preservation box. So for each of the jars under your chair, you will see one of our food preservation systems.
Yeah, and I think what's so great about our product is that we're not at an MVP stage. We're at a full product stage, so we are ready to go to market. Once we have this funding, and we also have financials here. Once we have this funding, we can go right to market. We've already talked to many wine distributors who are super interested in buying big bulk orders. And we think that with their help, that we can really scale this company to where we see it going in the next 5 years. And the financial forecasting right here is for the next 5 years. And we're expecting to hopefully strike deals with 5% of all distributors. In the US, there are 1,054 distributors, so that would be 5% would be 53 distributors, and buying around 200 per order, which is regular for a middle-sized distributor. And we see our projections for the 5th year is over $80 million in annual revenue. So we do see, and that's not with the jarred or plated food categories either. That's just for wine preservation. So, yes.
Anybody else?
So to go into the food space, you're saying you already have that product.
Yes.
And there's not like major tweaks to the, like what's the difference between a product design for that versus the wine application?
So essentially, you can place the same technology, the same preservation technology that you use on the wine. You can place it on top of here, and you can actually try it yourself. But if you put it on top, it'll take all the oxygen out and ensure the optimal pressure. And you actually can't open the jar because there's no oxygen inside. Like once you take all the oxygen, it's pretty cool to see. But so if that answers your question, yeah.
Yeah, and also add to the revenue question. Since we share the same technology, once they purchase the same the first product, they are interested in purchasing our second, third, fourth products. So our capacity is excellent. We can manufacture many things based on this technology. So that will create enough revenue for us. And this revenue forecast is only for wine preservation, which we are currently holding. And other preservations has a larger market.
From the judges? All right, a round of applause for Preservio. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Thank you. All right. Next up, we have Sorcerer. Sorcerer is an AI-powered procurement agent that automates supplier sourcing, price negotiation, and logistics for distributors and manufacturers. Over to you, Peter. Green is forward, red is back.
Okay. Yeah.
Yep. Thank you.
Hello everybody, my name is Peter Satali and I'm the CEO and co-founder of Sorcerer. We're building the first ever fully autonomous AI procurement agent. And so things that you see on the shelves generally come from overseas. And so within supply chain, there's an aspect called procurement. And so within procurement, you do things like sourcing and talking with factories. And so these individuals spend on average 20 to 30 hours a week on manual tasks, going in, making sure that the quality control is strong, booking freight forwarders. It's an overwhelming aspect of manual tasks that they're wasting on a weekly basis, on a continuous basis. In terms of SMEs in particular, there's a ton of different roles within procurement that all require a ton of manual labor of going in, physically going and inspecting the factories, going in and booking freight forwarders. It's this very, very rigorous process. And so in terms of my background, I come from an import-export background in particular. I did $60 million in revenue during COVID, doing gloves, masks, COVID test kits. And so I was doing firsthand talking to factories in Asia, negotiating, booking freight forwarders, and so seeing that firsthand. Before that, I went to school at Cornell for undergrad, and I started a business doing technology for nonprofits and sold that business. In terms of the aspect for distribution, when I joined a group called the Young Presidents Organization, which you require about 18 million in revenue, so it has a direct line of distribution there, as well as the World Economic Forum, which I'm a part of. In terms of our co-founders, Evan is co-founder CTO, previous background in terms of Stanford computer science, bachelor's, master's in AI. He's written multiple AI research papers and applied scientist at Amazon, as well as Eric Hahn, who software engineer at Meta in terms of the generative AI team, Caltech computer science, a bachelor's, as well as Stanford master's. And so what we do is we automate key functions of the procurement team. So first aspect, whatever you're looking for, we will go in and be able to find every single factor in the world, and our AI agent will communicate with them, be able to negotiate directly with them, and be able to also find, as you see, especially with the whole situation today with the tariffs, be able to determine based on tariffs and freight what is the most optimal solution. And so our product is actively working. So in terms of whatever our customers are looking for, we can do a full-scale sourcing aspect, negotiate directly. And so if we think about historically for procurement, you would usually have CRM, and you have to mainly go in and say, these are my discussions with the different factories, this is the data. And so if we think about it in a post-SaaS world, it's a bigger focus of AI agents going in and being more of a foreseer of what's going to happen and be able to then make decisions. So what we're focused on the construction industry. And so the reason why construction is very interesting is that once a construction company wins a job, they have about 2 months before they have to start the project. And so for them to go in and do this entire process of reaching out to these factories, they don't have enough time to do that. And so what they do is they buy from local distributors, and they lose on average 20 to 15% by paying that premium. So in terms of our results, we already have an actual product. We are doing $10,000 a month in profit. We have a key case study that we did where one of our clients was spending $1.3 million a year on electrical wire. We brought that down to $750,000 and saving them approximately $550,000. In terms of our wait list, right now we have 300 companies on a wait list. Aggregating all their annual spend is over $15 billion. We have also $2 million in net revenue signed in terms of LOIs and a couple key flagship customers. In terms of how we make money, we get a cut of the transaction, how much we save. We also do aspects in terms of doing an agent model where we charge a monthly recurring fee and looking at it more of a standard distribution aspect as well. In terms of what our technical advantage is, we have advantages in terms of distribution, being able to go in and get in touch with these CEOs directly and be able to aggregate the orders together to help them get bigger cost savings. And then additionally on the data side with the World Economic Forum and getting data from the governmental side, we're able to do that quite effectively compared to the competition. So in terms of 25,000, what that helps us, we have a couple key pilot customers I want to go visit in person in Indiana, Alabama, and South Carolina that want to go in and lock in a couple bigger deals for us. Additionally, we want to spend about $9,000 on developing the product, doing even more fine-tuning on the tariff aspect, as well as spending $5,000 on compliance and making sure hosting. So overall, we're hoping that this 25,000 will be able to help us accelerate our roadmap by about 8 months, convert a lot of these wait lists over directly, and then close additional $300,000 in annual profit deals. I'm Peter Satali. Thank you again. And we're building, once again, the first fully autonomous AI procurement agent. Thank you.
Thanks, Peter. Let's now take some questions from the judges. Santiago.
So AI agents are stochastic systems, so they are not, this means that they are not fully deterministic.
Sure.
Sometimes they are wrong. And I think these tasks are pretty critical. No? You cannot afford to have signed the wrong contract.
Sure.
So how do you deal with the fact that these systems are still not 100% reliable?
Sure. So a couple of things. I mean, the first aspect is with the full searching process, that would be significant amount of time. And so what we're viewing it is the client will still make a decision on which factory they're going to go through, but they don't have to do this whole manual process of finding these factories, going in and doing the background. And so what we'll have is also too, when you talk to these factories, they give you a background of here's our company portfolio, this is our background. And so the agent will do the analysis and still give the customer the decision of, hey, look, I'm going to go forward. It's obviously in the future, who knows, we're building on the application layer. We're not going in and building it ourselves. So we'll see what happens, but that's how we're handling that.
Thank you.
So I guess like you can really analyze like price points and stuff
Sure.
with some of these vendors. What about quality of the goods itself? How is that typically done by like local suppliers or distributors who might maybe have experience with that vendor and can have seen samples and stuff versus
Yeah.
an AI that's looking at reports?
So a couple things. First thing is that we would do background checks on the factory, so you can see if have they been in lawsuits in the past, any type of quality issue. There's a ton of data that you can pull along those lines. You can also see historical, how often, in terms of public shipping data, how often they've done these type of products before. So that's the first thing. Every single container that we go with is inspected by SGS, which does third-party inspection. And so we can have that be booked. And so how SGS works is that it depends how you do the contract with the factory, but how we set it up is that if SGS doesn't approve when the container is inspected, we can basically get our money back. Is how it works. So it prevents those type of issues. There's a more technical aspect called 100% letter of credit, which I don't know if I can get more into, but that's how we handle that on the quality side.
So I was thinking, like, if you work with the local distributor, they're almost acting as like a reference point because they probably have prior experience with those vendors or suppliers, right? If you go directly to the supplier, you kind of lose out the idea of a reference check. But is that something that your platform's looking at too, like looking at testimonials or ratings from other people that have used that factory or distributor?
You could do that, but the main thing is that you can access the data now with Import Genius and other ones where you can see these distributors, if they're buying from them already, you can see that and then essentially cut them out because you can figure out what the name of the factory is. So you have all that data is publicly available. And so yes, we can be able to find that, but at least that's how we're structuring it today.
Thanks.
So when the AI is doing the negotiation, sourcing, and so on, who is liable for the risk of a product that has been purchased and it's delayed, malfunctioning, quality? Who takes on that risk?
So it's a good question. In terms of how we have it structured, we give them the full analysis of the background of the company. We have everything inspected by SGS. So SGS is going in and they're doing their guarantee. It depends on what insurance policy you're going to go with. But if SGS gives their stamp of approval, the main thing is that every single container, I mean, there's oftentimes when you do audits and inspections, you expect the factory, but we can obviously have that as well. But when it's at the port ready to get picked up, every single container, because when I worked in procurement, I mean, sometimes if you have 20 gloves in let's say if it was during COVID times, they might have only 18. And so they might try to shortchange you there, or the quality's not good. So every single aspect is there. In terms of how it's handled, it depends on how the contract's set up. At least how we have it set up. It's done where if SGS is approved, I mean, it's obviously it's a case-by-case basis what happens with the customer, but we give them all the information, and that's how it works. The same thing too, if someone's an employee for a procurement company and they make a purchase, it depends on the situation, but that's how we're handling it. We're going above and beyond on the quality, and no one does, generally speaking, have SGS inspect everything. We're going above and beyond for that, and so that's how we prevent those issues.
So are you a middleman between SGS and the client then?
Depends. It's a good question. So it depends because if you act as a distributor, right, you might be able to get a little bit more margin on the deal versus just doing, let's say, $5K or $10K a month on the transaction. So it depends on the particular client. We have some clients that yes, we are acting as a middleman. Other clients, we're giving them just this is the list of the different factories, those type of things, and then getting a recurring aspect along those lines. So it depends. We're still early stage. We're still making decisions along those lines.
So you mentioned you're working with Cemex, and it's currently a pilot that you're doing with them. So I guess I'm curious, what are they looking for? What are the metrics and outcomes they're looking for to then sort of grow that relationship and do more with you?
Sure, and I can also tell you a little offline because I know this is being recorded, so there's some aspect of confidential. But generally speaking, one of the things that they want to, it's less about pricing for them because they're a global leader. It's more so about making sure that certain aspects like labor laws and those type of things, being very careful of who they source from. We also talked to, as well, in terms of, in one of our early ideations, was going in and talking to Starbucks. So Starbucks, for them, they care less about going in and finding the cheapest cups. They want to look at, is it environmentally friendly? So it depends on what the customer wants. Some customers want the lowest price, other ones want quality. It depends. Some want to do new initiatives environmentally friendly. It depends what they want. At least how we're focused on. They would always have to do significant amount. I mean, we're hoping to automate their entire workflow, but it's so much stuff they have to do to go and do price checks, and it's a ton of stuff. And I can't, because of the NDA, I can't go as in depth. I'm sorry, but that's the general gist.
No, that's helpful. But then on your end, on the product side that you're developing, when you have these new requirements, how do you iterate and tune your product to all these things? Or is that super simple? what kind of level of work is it when you go to a new customer and they have a different set of criteria, like that's building something new on your end?
So the way we operate today, we do it primarily helping them save on costs is our main aspect. Because when I talk to a CEO and they're spending, $5 million a year or whatever, I'm going and say, look, we can help you save X amount, 10%. They care about their bottom line and we impact that directly, like the one result we did where we saved $550,000. So that's our main focus, but it's not very difficult to do. We can go in and change in terms of particular sourcing outreach what to focus on, but all the information is interlocked there and be able to have that be run quite smoothly.
Any other questions? Awesome. A warm round of applause for Sorcerer.
All right, thank you.
All right. Our final team today is Prevision Labs. Prevision Labs uses revolutionary VR software to empower designers and directors to work at the speed of creativity. There you go. Yeah, green is forward.
Thank you. Hi friends, my name is John Horzen. We are an arts tech startup, and I'm here to talk to you about an exciting opportunity within the world of live events. Social media, generative AI, and short-form content are accelerating a cultural shift towards isolation, distraction, and loneliness. Live events, already a $70 billion industry, is perfectly poised to take advantage. This is because live events are these places where communities can come together and center new ideas. It is the antithesis to the problems that we're currently facing. But, as the graphic says, it is incredibly complex and incredibly risky to back these days. Why is that? Well, in live events, you can't half-try an idea. You gotta commit to team, timeline, budget, venue, all of that just to see if an idea works. You see, in live events, there's an entire iteration stage that happens after you spend the majority of your budget. So, after you spend the majority of the budget, and every single additional change costs money. Prevision allows you to test, iterate, and improve your show at any point during the production process. Before you even submit your venue rental, before you even get investors on board. It's huge, and it's a software venue simulator. Prevision allows every single design department, set, lights, automation, video, costumes, sound, all of it to work together in this virtual environment and figure out how a show fits together before major dollars are spent. And the kicker, nobody has to learn anything new. We allow them to use the tools that they're already familiar with in the venue. Sort of like Figma for Broadway. The even better news is that we have no direct industry competitors. There are some players in the space, but no one has a holistic solution like us. We've held over 200 interviews with industry professionals, theater consultants, and event tech providers, which have led to its use on 7 regional productions, each with budgets of around $250,000. On a recent production, set construction delays and projection engineering issues put us days behind schedule. But because we'd already gotten so far ahead using Prevision, the two ended up canceling each other out, and we opened on time as planned to a warm critical reception and a successful run. We have 3 more shows locked in for 2025, in addition to over 15 letters of intent, thanks to this particular conference, over 15 letters of intent for the 25-26 season from previous and new customers. Our team was built for this moment. Christian is a specialist in real-time rendering, XR, and AI. He's a student over at the David Geffen School of Drama. Trevor Tarnowski in the audience with us tonight, this afternoon, a seasoned startup marketer and media director with an MBA from Clark. And as for myself, I have over 21 years of experience in entertainment, as well as regional and Broadway credits. We have lived this pain, we know this pain, because us plus our advisors have run over 700 live events. We know this in our bones. Moving forward, our priorities are continuing our early adopter pilots, reducing our online latency, hiring part-time specialists, increasing our client base by attending industry conferences, and of course, raising our seed round in the fall and bringing our MVP to market. Our business plan is pretty straightforward. And our total serviceable market we've defined as New York and Connecticut concert event companies. And if we're able to get just 2% of that, That's our 500K annual recurring. Moving forward, we have additional revenue sources through consultant packages, which is what we've been running during our MVP. Educational licenses moving forward are an absolute must, and we have long-term horizontal growth opportunities over in film, television, and architecture. We also built an AI media server, but that is a different pitch. We are a C Corp. We've been bootstrapping with personal, angel, and client investments. We are going to be running our seed round in the fall, and this is the perfect time for us for the Miller Prize. Not only because our CTO is going to be graduating here in a few weeks and will be able to join us full time, but every single blocker that we're facing is financial. In order to improve the quality of our consultant services and do the latency work that we need to do, we need additional equipment. In order to attend these conferences, this is going to be, tabling is not cheap. This is $11,000 will be able to get us through the year of industry presence. And we cannot do any of this without completing our process patent. We've had plenty of consultations. We're in a good place. We've done plenty of research, but we do need to finish that. At the end of the day, arts is how societies have conversations with itself. And you and I both know we live in a world where we desperately are in need of some conversation. Prevision removes the financial barriers for new voices to join the discourse. Thank you for your time. I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Okay, I'll start because I have the mic. Hi. I guess my question is, what kind of ROI are you seeing, or like, how did you determine your pricing? How are you thinking about that, and what are you seeing so far in terms of savings and how you sort of hone the value prop as you're doing the pilots?
100%. I'm going to answer in reverse order. So we landed at 2K because that is what some of the folks who are in the industry, that is sort of the floor that they're working with. I'm actually going to move forward in our appendix so that we have sort of a point of comparison. Ignore that, ignore all that. It would be great to have somebody skipping the slides. Great. So our quote-unquote competition in the industry are highly specialized, what are known as pre-visualization tools. So there's a great one for lighting. There's a really good one for set. There's also a completely separate one called D3 for projections. But all of them are highly specialized. There are a few that do more than one thing, but none of them are holistic. None of them have sort of a sound situation. And I'll get more into how we're better than them in a second. But we picked 2K because the tools like WYSIWYG, AutoCAD, and SpikeMark are around a similar place, and we do way more than them. And in a market that already is experiencing software fatigue and onboarding fatigue, we want to go for saturation as much as possible. At the beginning, we want it to be a, yeah, duh, we're using this, rather than, does it make sense, financially. So that's how we arrived at the 2K number, because it's competitive with lesser tools. In terms of ROI, it costs around $37,000 a day to run I'm talking about that prototyping period on Broadway, right? After you spend all the money, you've moved all the lights into the space, all the projections into the space, it's $37K a day. If we're able to cut down on just one of those, that is $37,000 of savings per day of Prevision use. We think we can charge more. The closest competitor that we currently have is called Synchronorm, and it says $1,530 a year on this slide. We found this out yesterday when I was giving this pitch to a school management student. It's not at all $1,530. It is closer to $35,000 for a single Synchronorm system. Slide is incorrect, my bad. We can charge more. We think it's more important to start with saturation. A long-winded way of potentially answering the question? Great, thank you.
So I'm wondering what your moat is. So what's preventing your competitors to become like more holistic players? Is it technical? Yeah.
It is technical. So we are built off of we're taking a completely different route to pre-visualization than everybody else. Everybody else has built their own code bases, and they did it in like the early aughts. And they sort of haven't had any market competition because everybody is sort of parceled out into their own sectors. What we're using is a gaming physics engine as the baseline for this. And because of that, in order to compete with us, in order to go like real time and have VR support, they're going to have to completely rework how their software runs. We're not particularly worried about current industry competition.
So in the venture world, VCs are trying to find unicorn companies oftentimes, right? And looking for a company that can generate hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars.
Sure.
And it looks like the TAM is gonna be fairly small from what I can see. So how do you, I mean, it's like saying, you know, I'm building a skateboard, and the transportation industry, which I'm classifying it as, is a multi-trillion-dollar business, right? And so specifically for your specific business, can you talk about that, TAM, and why you think this can be a unicorn-type company?
First off, I think the TAM, if we get 100% market saturation, if we're able to sell at what we're currently working at, that's a decent chunk of change. This is the total number of event companies in the US. So I don't think it would be a poor investment by any means from any investor taking a look at this. We have plenty of space to make a profit. There is a very clear need moving forward. I think how we are defining value, and it might sort of go against sort of the very nature of like this, just in general pitch competitions. We are defining value by the amount of new IP we are able to facilitate bringing to market. And what do I mean by this? We are in a sea of sequels right now. Like we're getting what's the one with, we're getting a ton of sequels because old IP is incredibly safe to back. We're also living in sort of a world of cultural stagnancy, where we're getting the same nostalgia cycles sort of separated by around 30 years. What Prevision does is makes it much more financially viable for an investor who is in a conversation with a producer to see where their money is going and to potentially back new IP and new stories. That is the value that we are attempting to create within the space. And as we figure out how much we can charge in order to facilitate that new IP generation, that's, I think, where we're going to be able to figure out exactly how high this rocket ship can, or this unicorn in this case, can fly. But at the end of the day, we are obsessed with making sure that new ideas can get in front of new audiences. And all we care about is continuing that mission moving forward. Because our mission, as I've stated, maybe to put it a little bit more succinctly, we want to keep live events viable in this world of fast media consumption. I'm not sure if this answers your question. It might be refuting it. But to be completely honest, that's sort of where we're standing.
Any additional questions from the judges? All right, let's give it up for Prevision.
Thank you for your time.
All right, that concludes the Miller Prize pitch-off today. Another warm round of applause for everyone who pitched today. And a big thank you again to our judges for your fantastic questions. Let's give them a round of applause. All right, some quick announcements before you all head out of here for the break. Please, before you leave, remember to cast your vote for the Audience Choice Award winner. Those ballots are on your chairs. You can see my colleague Anju here, and please put your vote in the ballot box before you leave. It's super, super important. That's a $2,000 prize. We're now heading into a break, 15 minutes at 3:45. Please come back here for the keynote. It's going to be an alumni panel featuring trailblazing founders. And then everyone come back here at 4:45 for the winner announcements for who won all the pitch competitions across Startup Yale today. Thank you all so much again, and we'll see you soon. Thank you.